When was the last time you looked in the mirror and truly respected the person staring back at you? Most people don't think about self-respect until it's already slipping away. We chase approval. We try to fit in. We stay quiet when we want to speak. We agree when we want to say no. And over time, without even realizing it, we shrink. We forget who we are. But here's the truth: no success, no relationship, no amount of praise will ever feel enough if deep down you don't respect yourself. If you stay with me until the end of this video, I promise you'll feel a fire inside, something that will remind you of your value, your strength, and the kind of life you actually deserve to live. Self-respect isn't about being loud. It's not about ego. It's not about walking around thinking you're better than everyone else. It's quiet. It's solid. It's the voice inside you that says, I matter even if no one else sees it. That's the kind of strength that doesn't fade. When you have self-respect, you stop chasing attention and start commanding it. You stop begging for love and start attracting it. You stop apologizing for who you are and start owning your presence. Human psychology teaches us something powerful. People treat us based on the standard we set for ourselves. If you constantly put yourself last, people will too. If you don't believe in your worth, why would they? Think about it. How many times have you let someone cross a line just to keep the peace? How often have you lowered your standards just to avoid being alone? Every time you do that, you send yourself a message: I'm not enough. But here's the truth. You are. You've always been enough. You just forgot. And now it's time to remember. Start by recognizing your patterns. Are you accepting less because you're afraid of losing people? Are you over-giving because you're desperate to be liked? That's not love. That's not respect. That's fear. And fear will rob you of everything you deserve. The moment you say, I'm done living small, everything begins to change. The moment you say, I don't need to prove my worth to anyone, you take your power back. That's what self-respect is. It's returning to yourself. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest, about knowing your flaws and still saying, I deserve better. There's a quote that says, you teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. That's more than just words. That's psychology. That's truth. When you walk with your head up, when you protect your peace, when you don't beg for love, you create a force around you that others feel. People sense when you have standards. People notice when you carry yourself like someone who isn't easily shaken. And most importantly, you feel it. You feel stronger. You feel lighter. You feel like you're finally becoming who you were meant to be. So don't just watch this video. Let it wake something up inside you. Because deep down, you've always known this. You were not born to be silent. You were not made to settle. You were built for more. Stay with me. Because this journey isn't just about words. It's about reminding you of who you are and the real transformation. It starts right now. Too many people are waiting to be chosen, waiting for someone to see them, waiting for someone to validate their existence. But what if the person you've been waiting for is you? What if the power, the confidence, the respect you've been searching for isn't out there in someone else's hands, but already inside you, waiting for permission to rise? Choosing yourself is one of the hardest and most powerful things you'll ever do. Psychology says humans are wired for connection. We crave acceptance. We're built to belong. But when that craving turns into dependence, we start handing over our worth to others. We tie our value to how many likes we get, how many people approve of us, or how often we're invited into the room. And with each act of waiting, we lose a little more of ourselves. But self-respect doesn't grow in the hands of others. It grows in the decisions you make when no one is watching. It's born when you say, I'm not waiting anymore. I choose myself. Think about it. Every time you say yes to something that disrespects your values, you abandon yourself. Every time you lower your standards to avoid being alone, you send your own soul a message that you are not enough. But real self-respect comes from alignment, from refusing to lie to yourself, from knowing that you'd rather walk alone in truth than be surrounded by people who only like the version of you that's easy to manipulate. You don't need to be chosen. You need to choose. You need to choose your peace, your worth, your growth, even when no one claps for it. There is something magnetic about a person who no longer needs approval to feel complete. That kind of self-possession is rare, and rare is powerful. You become someone who isn't easily moved, someone who doesn't chase because you know that what's meant for you respects you. You stop proving yourself and start protecting yourself, not out of pride, but out of love. That's where real power lies, in stillness, not noise. Sometimes choosing yourself looks like walking away from the crowd. Sometimes it looks like saying no without guilt. Sometimes it looks like disappointing others so you don't keep disappointing yourself. And it's not always easy. But self-respect isn't built in comfort. It's forged in fire. In the moments you stand up for yourself when it would be easier to shrink. In the moments you say, I'm done accepting crumbs when I deserve the feast. Because that's what self-worth is. It's not asking for more. It's knowing you deserve it before anyone offers it. You are not here to fit into places that were never built for your spirit. You are not here to keep chasing people who can't see your light. You are not here to beg for space in hearts that were never ready for your depth. You are here to rise. You are here to lead yourself. You are here to be a standard. And the moment you stop needing to be chosen is the moment you become unforgettable, because the world follows those who lead themselves. There comes a point when you have to stop holding on to things that hurt you. No matter how much you care, no matter how long you've stayed, there's a line between loyalty and self-destruction. And that line is called self-respect. Too often, we cling to what we know, even if it's breaking us. We justify the disrespect. We excuse the pain. We keep ourselves small to avoid conflict, to keep the peace, to not look like the bad person. But the truth is simple. What disrespects you is not meant for you. And the longer you hold on, the further you drift from the person you're meant to become. Psychology teaches us something profound. Humans tend to normalize the environment they stay in. If you remain in a place where you're not valued, that becomes your reality. Your standards start to drop, your voice begins to fade. You stop recognizing the difference between love and tolerance. And that's dangerous, because you were not created to be tolerated. You were not born to beg for decency. You were made to be respected deeply, consistently, and without conditions. Walking away isn't weakness. It's strength. It's the kind of strength that doesn't come easy. It's the kind that requires courage. But walking away from what disrespects you is a declaration. It says, I will no longer abandon myself to keep others comfortable. It says, I love myself enough to let go. And that shift, no matter how quiet, is life-changing. Because self-respect often begins where people-pleasing ends. Letting go can be painful. You'll feel guilt. You'll question yourself. You'll wonder if you're being too harsh, too sensitive, too difficult. But remember this, choosing your peace is never too much. Removing yourself from disrespect is not dramatic. It's necessary. It's healthy. It's healing. When you finally release the weight of relationships, environments, or habits that drain your worth, you make room for something greater. You make space for peace, clarity, and growth. One of the greatest acts of self-respect is this: refusing to entertain what makes you feel small. You weren't meant to shrink to fit in. You weren't meant to carry the burden of unspoken resentment, emotional manipulation, or constant disregard. You were meant to rise. And sometimes, rising means walking away from the friend who always belittles your dreams, from the partner who treats your love like an option, from the job that drains your soul but pays your bills. Because your sanity, your joy, and your self-worth are priceless. You don't owe anyone your suffering. Every time you let go of something that disrespects you, you take a step toward the life you actually deserve. And here's the beautiful part. The moment you stop settling is the moment you start attracting better. Life responds to your energy. When you set boundaries, when you honor your worth, when you walk in your truth, the right people, the right opportunities, the right environments begin to find you. Not because you chased them, but because you finally made room. So ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that's quietly destroying me? And what would happen if I finally let it go? Because on the other side of letting go is peace, and peace is the highest form of respect you can give yourself. It's not just the big decisions that define your self-respect. It's the small ones, the quiet ones, the ones no one sees but you. Self-respect lives in your daily habits, in what you allow, in what you repeat, and in what you refuse to tolerate from yourself. Every day, you're building a reputation with yourself, and that reputation either builds your confidence or breaks it. You can't feel powerful if your actions keep telling your mind that you don't matter. When you wake up and choose discipline, you're saying you matter. When you keep a promise you made to yourself, no matter how small, you're saying your word is valuable. When you say no to distractions, when you speak up for yourself, when you take care of your body, your space, your mind, you're proving to yourself that you're worth showing up for. And the brain remembers. Psychology proves it. Consistent behavior rewires your self-image. You don't just believe you're worthy. You become someone who lives like they are. Start by doing what you said you would do. If you said you'd get up early, get up. If you promised yourself to work on your goals today, start. Every time you delay your growth for temporary comfort, you send a message to your own soul that you're not serious. But when you follow through, even when it's hard, your self-respect begins to multiply. It's like building trust. Only this time it's with yourself. And that trust becomes unshakable. You don't need to overhaul your life in one day. Start small. A 5-minute workout, a few pages of reading, a walk instead of scrolling, saying no when something doesn't align. These are not small actions. These are bold declarations. These are ways of saying, I will not abandon myself today. That's how you build momentum. That's how you create proof in your own mind that you are becoming someone who demands more from life, because they finally demand more from themselves. And let's be honest, most people don't lack potential. They lack consistency. They don't need more motivation. They need to stop breaking their own promises. They need to stop treating their dreams like options. Because every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you're reinforcing that your future isn't urgent, but it is. Your peace is urgent. Your healing is urgent. Your self-respect cannot wait any longer. Self-respect isn't just emotional. It's practical. It's going to bed on time. It's walking away from gossip. It's keeping your space clean. It's choosing food that fuels you. It's doing the hard thing even when no one is watching. Because the more aligned your actions are with the person you want to be, the more unstoppable you become. And this isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest enough to stop lying to yourself. It's about making choices that say, I matter. So if you want to change your life, don't wait for a sign. Don't wait for the perfect time. Create rituals. Create standards. Create patterns that support the vision you have for yourself. Because the way you live your day is the way you live your life. And if your days don't reflect your worth, your life won't either. You weren't born to play small. You weren't designed to blend in, to hide your light, or to silence your voice. Deep inside you, there is a version of you that's stronger, wiser, louder, bolder, a version that isn't afraid to be fully seen. Becoming that person isn't about perfection. It's about truth. It's about shedding everything that was placed on you, doubt, fear, shame, and returning to who you were before the world told you who to be. Becoming the person you were meant to be starts with one thing: self-respect. That's the foundation. It's the fuel that gives you permission to grow. Because when you respect yourself, you stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop explaining your standards. You stop dimming your fire just to make others comfortable. You realize that your life doesn't need to be validated by anyone but you. And that changes everything. The world has enough people trying to fit in. What it needs is people brave enough to stand out, people who are grounded enough to walk alone if they have to. People who understand that their dreams are not random, they are reminders of who they truly are. And that kind of self-leadership doesn't come from noise. It comes from stillness. It comes from listening to that quiet voice inside that says, you were meant for more than this. That voice is not your ego, it's your truth. And the more you listen to it, the louder it becomes. You are not defined by your past. You are not limited by your mistakes. You are not trapped by your failures. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. The only thing standing between who you are and who you could become is the decision to stop living in fear, to stop making excuses, to stop settling. Because every time you choose safety over growth, you rob yourself of a future that was already yours. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for someone to believe in you. Start with you. Start by acting like someone who deserves the life they imagine. Start by walking into every room with the belief that your presence matters. Start by holding your head high, not because you think you're better, but because you finally remember who you are. You were not made to break every time life gets hard. You were made to rise over and over again. There's a kind of peace that comes when you know you've finally stopped betraying yourself. When your actions match your values, when your words match your intentions, when your life starts to reflect the strength that's been inside you all along, that's when you realize you're not becoming someone new, you're becoming someone real. So let the world misunderstand you. Let them question your path. Let them doubt your fire. Because self-respect means knowing that their approval is not your purpose. You didn't come this far to live half a life. You came to rise, you came to lead, you came to break cycles, heal wounds, and walk with the kind of strength that makes people feel your presence even when you say nothing at all. You came to become everything you were always meant to be. And now, nothing can stop you.